Alright, hey everybody, so we wanted to do a video for you guys this week about how we make money while we cruise. We've learned a lot since we've been traveling and making money, and we wanted to explain to you 6 tips that we've learned along the way.
And just as a disclaimer, there are tons of other ways you can make money out there, but this is just what we've learned through our own personal experience.
Alright, so tip number 1 is DIY, do it yourself. If you are preparing a boat for cruising and you're in those initial planning stages, try and plan on doing as much of the work of getting the boat ready yourself. That way you're training yourself and you're learning skills that you'll be able to use down the road to actually make money. One way of doing this is to buy a boat that needs to be completely refitted and then refit the boat yourself. And that's exactly what Desiree and I did. The other nice thing about DIY is that as you're doing the jobs yourself, you're going to need to acquire the tools to do those jobs. And once you have those tools, you can take them with you, and now you'll have the tools available to do those jobs for other people for money in the future. So just about any project that you'll have to do on your boat, whether it be redoing the electrical system, plumbing, dealing with your diesel engine, dealing with outboards, painting, fiberglassing, sewing, all of those projects that you'll be doing on your boat are things that you can make money doing in the cruising community once you're cruising abroad.
For me, as an example, when we first started learning how to refit our boat, I had no idea how to sew, so I literally just went to YouTube and typed in how to sew, and I found Sailrite's awesome how-to videos, and they became a great resource for me. I joined a bunch of Facebook sewing communities, and little by little I just started kind of putting all the pieces together, and it's been an awesome experience, and now I have sewing under my belt as a way to make money while we sail.
Tip number 2, location. It's really important that when you're deciding where you're going to be doing this work while you're cruising, that you look for a couple of key elements. One being, make sure you're looking for a vibrant cruising community. Most of the work that we do is within the cruising community itself. The good thing about that is that a lot of the people within the cruising community speaks English. And that's actually one of the big reasons why we get hired, is because people want to deal with workers that can speak the same language as themselves. The other thing is that you're going to get in a whole lot less trouble with the authorities because you don't have a work visa. If you're working within a cruising community, that's a little bit of a closed environment where authorities ashore aren't going to be involved very much. You're working for foreigners as a foreigner, and that's a whole lot less of a gray area than it is working ashore without a visa. One of the main elements with finding a vibrant cruising community, look for a cruising community that has an active radio net in the morning. That way you can get on there and find who needs what really easily every day. Another element to consider when choosing your location is how easy is it to source marine materials. So a lot of the work that we do requires fiberglass, resin, plywood, lumber, sewing materials, canvas. If you're in the middle of nowhere, it's going to be really hard for you to find that stuff, and if you hunker down for a season to work in a place where you can't find materials, you're going to have a really hard time accepting jobs. That's why where we are, Isla Mujeres, is perfect, because we're right next to Cancun, which is a massive city, has Home Depot, it has several different marine supply stores, and we're able to get most of the things that we need for most of the jobs that we're doing here. Okay, another factor to consider is competition. When you get into an area that you're thinking about working in, make sure that you're seeing whether there's a lot of other people there doing what you want to do. So, for instance, in Isla Mujeres and in Key West, the 2 places that we've done this kind of work, there is really low competition in this field. In my opinion, a lot of vacation destinations are going to be the same way. A lot of people are going to go to those places to drink, party, have a good time. Very, very few people are going to go to those places to actually work. So if you're going to a paradise vacation destination with the intention of getting work done, you probably will stand out, as most people won't be wanting to work there. Alright, the final thing to consider with location is being close to a first world country, but not too close. Isla Mujeres is a perfect example. We're far enough away from the United States that people coming here from there aren't going to go back easily just to do repairs and maintenance. So they look for people to do it here, but Isla Mujeres is close enough so that people going on shakedown cruises or people that haven't been cruising for an extended period of time can still make it here, and those are going to be the kinds of people that you're going to do most of the work for.
Tip number 3 is networking. First off, offer to run the cruiser's net. It's a great way to kind of get your name out there, be the first point person when somebody has a problem. I can't tell you how many jobs I've gotten over the cruiser's net. People come in from out of town, they hop on the cruiser's net and they say, is there anyone out there who can fix my mainsail? And I hop on and say, hey, I can be there in 5 minutes. And then I show up, done. The best things you can do is socialize. Get out there, get to know the cruising community, have a couple of beers with fellow cruisers. It's crazy how many jobs we get just by getting to know other cruisers in our anchorage. Reputation is key. While you're socializing and getting to know the cruising community, put yourself out there, get as many jobs as you can, and make sure you're doing the absolute best job that you can, because word gets around, and if you don't do a good job, everyone's going to find out about it. The only reason people are going to trust that you're going to do a good job is your reputation. So really make sure you're putting everything you have into every project. Number 4 is choose your customer. There are a lot of budget cruisers and DIY cruisers out there, but we found that those aren't our ideal customers. We found that the cruisers we enjoy working for the most are the cruisers that have the money to pay for a job and are willing to pay a fair price. As an example of that, Jordan turned down a varnish job a couple weeks ago. It was a quick and dirty job. They weren't willing to pay a fair price, and it was hard for us to turn it down. And a week later, Jordan found a rudder job that paid really well.
Okay, tip number 5. Become the go-to local expert. A lot of cruisers are intimidated by the language and culture barriers that they're faced with when looking for supplies, services, and labor as they're cruising abroad. Also, in many developing countries, supplies and services can be very difficult and challenging to find anyway. So we found if you can become the person that people go to find supplies, to track down local services, that they're going to be coming to you for information, so that a lot of the time they're going to have you do the work for them. For instance, here in Isla Mujeres, our friend Captain John is the go-to local expert. So people go to him for everything from how to unblock your iPhone to where to buy lumber and who can fix air conditioning units. Everything that you can imagine, they go to John, and John gets a lot of work because of that.
Tip number 6 is just go for it. It's really intimidating to start charging for your work, especially when you're just learning those skills that you need to be able to charge for your work. But just give it a shot, put yourself out there. Don't be intimidated by new projects. When I first started learning how to sew, I really like to stick to very specific projects that I had already done, but that's just a luxury that I don't have out here. If somebody needs new fancy cushions that I've never done before, I need to be able to say, perfect, I can do that. And then once I'm there, in the moment, trying to figure it out, I need to have confidence that I can figure it out. And if I can't figure it out, I don't charge them for it.
So if you are like us and you want to travel the world, but you don't have a lot of cash in the old bank account, don't worry, take it from us and just get out there and give it a go. There's plenty of ways to make money while you're traveling if you really want to.
So be sure to click that like button, and if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel. We've got a bunch of awesome videos that we think you'll really love.
Okay guys, and as always, if you've got any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the comments section down below. Also, if you have any ideas on things that you'd like to see us make videos on, please make sure you put that in the comments section below as well. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in.
For example, like anything that needs to be explained just like comes out of my mouth like flying doves, butterflies. It's not only concise, but it's beautiful, it's entertaining.
You're like the voice of a generation.
I've been told that many times.